All right, hello and welcome. If you're a homeowner here in Florida, you already know that property taxes are just part of the deal. But what if I told you there's a really good chance you could be saving a ton of money every single year? That's what we're digging into today, the whole world of Florida's property tax exemptions.
Seriously, it's a question you've got to ask yourself. So many Floridians are actually eligible for these benefits, and they just have no idea they even exist. And what does that mean? It means they could be leaving a lot of money on the table. So just how much are we really talking about here?
Check out this number, $50,000. That is the magic figure. It's the maximum amount you can potentially slash from your home's taxable value just by claiming the single most common exemption in the state. And trust me, that is a huge deal, and it's really just the beginning.
Okay, so to make all this super clear, we're going to break it down into four main parts. First up, we'll talk about the big one, the cornerstone of all these savings, the homestead exemption. Then we're going to look at some special benefits for Florida's heroes. After that, we'll dive into support for folks with specific needs. And finally, and maybe most importantly, we'll walk you through exactly how to claim these savings for yourself.
So let's jump right in with the big one, the homestead exemption. I want you to think of this as the master key. It doesn't just unlock some initial savings, it opens the door to a whole bunch of other powerful benefits that are all designed to protect you as a homeowner.
So the first rule is actually pretty simple. To qualify, the property has to be your permanent primary residence. And the key date here is January 1st of the tax year. So we're not talking about vacation homes or rental properties. This is for the one place you truly call home.
Okay, so how does that $50,000 in savings actually work? It's kind of interesting. It's applied in two chunks. The first 25 grand is a straight-up reduction that applies to all your property taxes. Simple enough. The second 25 grand kicks in on the value of your home that's between $50,000 and $75,000. And that second part applies to most taxes, but not the school district taxes. The bottom line, though, these two parts add up to some really big savings.
But listen, the real long-term power of a homestead exemption comes from this little thing called the Save Our Homes cap. See, once you get that homestead exemption, you automatically qualify for this. And what it does is incredible. It means that no matter how much your home's market value skyrockets, your assessed value, the value they use for taxes, can't go up by more than 3% a year or the inflation rate, whichever is less. This thing is basically your shield against those huge, unexpected tax hikes.
You ever wonder about this? You buy a new house, look at what the old owner was paying in taxes, and then you get your first bill and sticker shock. Well, this is why. When a home is sold, that Save Our Homes benefit gets totally wiped clean. The property appraiser comes in and reassesses the home at its full current market value. So even after you, the new owner, get your $50,000 exemption, your starting point for your taxable value is way higher because all that built-up SOH savings is just gone.
But wait, what happens if you're the one who's moving? Are those savings lost forever? Nope. Florida has this fantastic feature called portability. It literally lets you take up to $500,000 of your Save Our Homes benefit from your old place and port it over to your new home, as long as it's in Florida. It's awesome. You don't have to start all over from square one.
Okay, so moving on from the standard exemptions, let's talk about something really important. Florida provides some pretty significant tax relief for the men and women who serve and protect our communities and our country.
Yeah, as a way to recognize their service and their sacrifice, the state has created a whole range of really powerful exemptions, specifically for active duty military, for veterans, and for their families. Let's get into the specifics.
So the benefits are kind of tiered based on service and disability status, and they're significant. For example, if you're a veteran with a 100% service-connected permanent disability, you might be eligible for a total property tax exemption on your home. Your tax bill goes zero. For veterans with a disability rating of 10% or more, there's a $5,000 reduction in assessed value. And there are even specific exemptions for deployed service members, plus special discounts for disabled veterans who are over 65.
And that same level of commitment, it extends to our first responders too. The law is incredibly clear on this. The surviving spouse of a law enforcement officer, a firefighter, an EMT, or a paramedic who died in the line of duty, they are entitled to a 100% exemption from property taxes on their home. It's just a crucial benefit for families who have made the absolute ultimate sacrifice.
All right, let's move on to our third category. Florida law also recognizes that some residents face specific life challenges, especially related to age and disability, and they might need some extra support.
Okay, so there's an additional $5,000 exemption available for any Florida resident who is a widow or a widower, who's legally blind, or who is totally and permanently disabled. And here's the best part. You can often stack this right on top of your main homestead exemption, which means even more savings.
And for residents with the most severe disabilities, the benefits get even more significant. For example, quadriplegics are completely exempt from all property taxes on their homestead. And then, folks who are paraplegic, hemiplegic, need a wheelchair to get around, or are legally blind might also receive a total exemption, but for them, it depends on their household income being below a certain limit.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. You now know what kind of benefits are out there, so this brings us to the final and honestly the most important part. How do you actually get them? Let's turn all this knowledge into real action.
Look, the path to saving money really comes down to just 4 simple steps. First, figure out which of these exemptions you might actually qualify for. Second, you got to gather your documents. This could be something like a disability letter from the VA, a certificate from your doctor, whatever proof they need. Third, everything goes to your local county property appraiser's office. And finally, and please do not forget this, you have to file your application by the March 1st deadline. Seriously, do not miss that date. So there you have it. From that foundational homestead exemption all the way to targeted relief for our veterans and citizens with disabilities, Florida really does offer a whole bunch of ways to lower your property tax bill. You have the information now. The only thing left is to take that first step. So what are you waiting for? Go contact your county property appraiser and start saving some money.